Hi, I'm Barbara Rimkunis, and this is your Exeter History Minute. Just after midnight on October 12, 1919, the town was awakened to a fire alarm at the Opera House on Water Street. The old theater was a total loss, burned flat, in the words of Betty Tuft's diary. The fire department later ruled it as arson, although no one was ever charged with the crime. Interestingly, the fire on October 12th was the second attempt. Whoever did it had tried the same thing 2 weeks earlier on September 27th, but it was earlier in the evening and quickly put out. But really, at this point, you're probably not interested in the fire or the arsonist because you're thinking, wait, there was an opera house in Exeter? Sounds kind of fancy for a town that only had about 4,000 people in it. Well, yes, Virginia. For 30 years, Exeter had an opera house, although not exactly as good as La Scala. Our opera house was a repurposed old building that began its life, wait for it, as a Baptist church. It was built in 1833, complete with a cupola and bell tower. It stood on Water Street, roughly across the street from where Swayze Parkway's entrance is today. In 1876, the Baptist congregation moved into their new brick church up on Front Street. We made a history minute about that. Watch it when you're done with this one. The old church was used as an armory for the next 10 years until James Wingate, owner of the Exeter Gazette across the street, bought it and turned it into a theater. Now, theaters were rather unsavory places at that time. Burlesque shows catered to the lowest elements of society, and most places, especially stodgy old Exeter with its fine academy, considered them unsuitable for the general public. Even vaudeville, considered a cleaned-up variety show, would not have passed muster in Exeter. And so Wingate called his theater the Exeter Opera House to give it an air of respectability. It opened on September 15, 1887, with a performance of Jules Verne's Michael Stroganoff by the Charles Andrews Minuet Carnival Company. Musical and theatrical programs were the most common shows at the Opera House, but every now and then a novelty act would make its way to town. In November of 1893, the talk around town was about Professor Bristol and his educated horses. For 3 nights, Topsy, Eagle, Diamond, Commodore, Ruby, and Tops acted out Horses at School to rave reviews, and it was topped off in the third act by a goat walking a tightrope. Lest the public become concerned that this might not be a culturally enlightening evening, between acts a fine orchestra played some popular selections. There's a common belief that the Opera House went out of business when the movies came to town. But the first movie ever to play in Exeter was at the Opera House in 1905. It was such a success that the theater installed permanent movie projectors 3 years later. Some early movies had the same bad reputation as burlesque theater, so the Opera House reassured the public that they showed a quality program of special features, strong virile dramas, and clean, wholesome comedies. Silent films were such a draw, and remember, before the Opera House opened, Exeter's chief entertainment had been the annual cattle show and the occasional traveling circus. Then in 1915, Edward Mayer built the Ioka Theater just up the street in direct competition. Now, the town couldn't support 2 theaters, and in spite of the Ioka's early financial troubles, we made a history minute about that too. Watch it after this is done and after the Baptist church one that I talked about. You might want to fix yourself a sandwich or something. Anyway, in spite of the Ioka's financial problems, it was the aging Opera House that was shuttered in 1917. 2 years later, it was still unoccupied and dark when the fire swept it off the map and out of public memory. This Exeter History Minute has been brought to you by Stratham Newfields Veterinary Hospital. For more information about long-lost pieces of town history, visit our website at www.exeterhistory.org.